Welcome back, deep divers. Today, we're going to be exploring something that's, well, it's pretty fundamental to, pretty much everything. Geography.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into some excerpts from the IELTS Insights podcast.
Oh, cool.
Episode's called Mastering IELTS Speaking Part 1, Geography.
Okay.
Now, I know what you might be thinking, right? IELTS. That's like for language tests.
Right.
But trust me on this one.
Okay.
This episode, even though it's about test prep, it's got these universal insights that go way beyond, just acing an exam.
Yeah, the hosts, Sophia and Michael, they make a really good point right off the bat. Geography is way more than just memorizing maps and capitals.
Absolutely. It's about understanding, like the stage where the whole human story plays out, right?
Right.
And that's what we're going to be unpacking today.
Cool.
You ready to dive in?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So even though we're using this IELTS episode as like a springboard,
Right.
our deep dive is going to go way beyond, just prepping for a test.
Gotcha.
We're going to really uncover how geography impacts our lives.
Okay.
Like our cultures, our personalities even.
Yeah. It's amazing to think about, like in the podcast, Michael, one of the hosts, he talks about growing up in a town. It was on a flat plain, just perfect for agriculture. And it got me thinking, about how much landscapes really do shape our first experiences of the world,
Oh, for sure.
Like my hometown, it was totally different. It was nestled in a valley.
Oh, wow.
So my childhood, it was all about exploring forests, climbing hills,
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's like two totally different, starting points.
Exactly. Yeah. It must have influenced who we became.
No doubt. It's so interesting how even subtle, differences in geography can have this big impact, right?
Right.
Think about it. I grew up near the coast.
Okay. Yeah.
So my childhood was all about beaches, the constant sound of waves, this sense of vastness.
I can imagine. Yeah.
If I'd grown up surrounded by mountains, who knows? Maybe I'd be like a mountain climber or something.
Right. That's what Sophia, the other host, she suggests. Comparing your hometown to other places, like a thought experiment. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel drawn to wide open spaces? Do you crave, the energy of a city?
Yeah.
Maybe your geographical roots have something to do with it. It's fascinating.
Isn't it? I mean, what really stands out to you about this connection between, our personal experiences and the landscapes we grew up in?
Well, Sophia talks about visiting Iceland, right? And just being completely awestruck by it. The volcanoes, the glaciers, the geysers, it's amazing. Places with such dramatic geography, they kind of put things in perspective, don't they? They remind us of the power of nature, how small we are in comparison.
Oh, I completely agree. I remember the first time I saw the Grand Canyon.
Oh, wow.
It was like looking into the depths of time,
Yeah.
It definitely shifted my perspective.
Have you had a similar experience with a place that just blew you away with its unique geography? Oh, yeah, absolutely. The Sahara Desert, that was like that for me. The endless, expanse of sand dunes, the scorching sun, that sense of solitude.
Yeah.
It was humbling and exhilarating at the same time. Experiences like that, they highlight the diversity of our planet, right? They make you appreciate the forces that shaped it.
Oh, they certainly do. But, as Michael points out, it's not just about these grand, awe-inspiring landscapes. Geography shapes our daily lives in much more practical ways, too.
Totally.
He contrasts life in, mountainous regions with that of coastal communities, showing how each environment presents these unique challenges, and opportunities.
It's true. Mountain dwellers, they might have to contend with difficult terrain, right?
Yeah.
But they also benefit from clean air, stunning views. Coastal communities, on the other hand, they rely on fishing or tourism for their livelihoods, and they have to adapt to the ever-present threat of, storms, rising sea levels.
Right. And Sophia brings up another crucial point. Understanding geography, it's essential for tackling global challenges, like climate change, for example. She specifically mentions the melting polar ice caps.
Oh, yeah?
Highlighting how important it is to, address these environmental issues.
And she's right to emphasize that, The melting ice caps, they're not just some distant phenomenon.
Right.
They have very real consequences. As the ice melts, sea levels rise, threatening coastal communities, ecosystems worldwide. Understanding the mechanisms behind these changes and how they connect to our actions, that's where geography becomes crucial.
Totally. It's not just about knowing the facts. It's about applying that knowledge, right?
Exactly.
To make informed decisions.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes geography so compelling. It's not some like dusty old subject confined to textbooks, you know. It's a living, breathing field. That helps us understand the world we live in.
Right.
The challenges we face, and our role in shaping the future.
It's true. Speaking of dusty old subjects, though, even Sophia admits that she found geography a bit dull in school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but she highlights how traveling, experiencing diverse landscapes, completely changed her perspective.
Yeah, it's like suddenly seeing the world in 3D instead of just on a flat map, right?
Right.
It makes you realize that geography is anything but boring.
Exactly, yeah. And then Michael chimes in, emphasizing how crucial geography is for understanding not just, like, our planet, but also diverse cultures and economies.
Right.
Think about it. Trade routes, agricultural practices, even the spread of languages and religions, they're all influenced by geography.
It's mind-boggling when you think about it that way.
It is. And Michael, he reveals his personal preference for living in an area with diverse geography, a place with mountains, rivers, and forests, offering a range of experiences. He enjoys the variety, the opportunities each landscape provides for different activities.
That makes a lot of sense. Variety is the spice of life, as they say. I'm curious, do you have like a preferred type of landscape?
You know, while I appreciate the beauty of all environments, I think I'm drawn to coastal regions.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The vastness of the ocean, the constantly changing tides, the salty air. There's something calming and invigorating about it. What about you? What kind of environment do you find yourself, like, gravitating toward?
I have to admit, I'm a mountain person through and through. Give me towering peaks, fresh air, the challenge of a good hike any day.
That's fantastic. It just goes to show how geography influences our preferences and shapes our sense of place.
It really does. And in the next part of this deep dive, we're going to explore how Sophia and Michael bring these concepts to life through, like, a role-play exercise.
Yeah.
Demonstrating how to answer geography questions in a way that incorporates, like, personal experience and cultural insights.
So this role-play segment is actually really insightful. Like, Sophia, she's acting as the examiner, and she asks Michael about how his country's geography attracts tourists.
Yeah, and Michael's answer is such a good example of how to, like, showcase that diversity. You know, it goes beyond just listing those geographical features. He talks about the Himalayas, of course, drawing in, like, the trekkers, the mountaineers, right?
Yeah, of course.
But then he mentions the beaches of Goa, you know, for those who are looking to relax.
Yeah.
And then historical cities like Jaipur, which are surrounded by desert, offering a completely different cultural experience, you know?
Yeah, and what I thought was so effective was, like, how he actually painted a picture with his words, highlighting the variety of landscapes, the activities his country has to offer.
Right. It wasn't just like information overload.
No.
He actually connected the geographical features to the types of tourists that they would appeal to, right?
Exactly, yeah.
He was giving this mini virtual tour.
Yes.
So then they switch roles, and Michael's playing the examiner now.
Okay.
And he asks Sophia to describe a geographical feature in her hometown that stands out, you know?
Right, yeah.
And Sophia's response is, it's brilliant. She talks about this river that flows through her city,
Okay.
which serves as, you know, a source of water for agriculture. But then she goes deeper, mentioning how it's also this place where people gather, like for picnics and festivals.
Oh, cool.
Adding like this whole cultural layer to her description, right?
Yeah.
And she even highlights how the lush greenery along the riverbanks provides like a peaceful escape from that city bustle,
Oh, nice.
appealing to the senses and emotions.
Yeah. Her answer really brings that river to life, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
She's not just describing a physical feature.
Right.
She's conveying how it's woven into the fabric of, like, life in her city.
Exactly. And that's such a valuable takeaway for anyone, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're taking a test or simply trying to communicate more effectively.
Right.
It's about weaving this narrative that connects geography to personal experiences and cultural significance, you know?
Yeah.
Making it more relatable and memorable.
Absolutely.
So after the role play, Sophia and Michael share these excellent tips for scoring high on the IELTS Speaking Part 1 section. But honestly, they're applicable to anyone looking to improve their communication skills.
Yeah. I completely agree. Like, they start by emphasizing the importance of extending your answers. Instead of just giving, like, one-word responses, they encourage adding details, examples, you know, even personal reflections.
Right. It's about going beyond that surface level.
Yeah.
And showing that you've really thought about the question.
Right, precisely. And they also highlight the importance of using, like, topic-specific vocabulary for geography, words like landscape, topography, climate, and ecosystem. These can really elevate your answers and make them sound more sophisticated.
Right. It's like using the right tools for the job.
Right. Yeah.
If you're talking about geography, why not use the language that best captures those nuances of the subject?
Right. And of course, they emphasize, like, fluency. Speaking naturally, avoiding long pauses, that's key. But they also acknowledge that everyone needs a moment to think sometimes. So they suggest using filler phrases like, that's an interesting question, or let me think about that for a moment. It buys you some time.
Right.
But you still maintain the flow of the conversation.
Yeah, those little strategies, I mean, they can make such a difference in how you come across. Right?
Absolutely.
It's about presenting yourself as someone who is comfortable and confident in their ability to communicate.
Totally. And they also mention pronunciation, like emphasizing key words, speaking clearly. That can make a big difference, even if your grammar isn't perfect.
I think it's because clear pronunciation helps your message resonate, right?
Exactly, yeah.
It shows that you're taking care to articulate your thoughts and make them easily understandable for the listener.
Yes. And finally, they remind listeners to stay confident. Like, if you make a mistake, just correct yourself smoothly and move on. No one expects perfection, especially in, like, a spontaneous conversation.
Right.
The key is to focus on expressing your ideas clearly and engaging with the topic.
Right. It's about showing that you can think critically, articulate your thoughts, and hold a conversation, even if you stumble over a word or two.
Exactly. Which brings us to, like, the key takeaways from this deep dive. It seems like the biggest takeaway here is that, like, geography is so much more than just maps and textbooks.
Right.
It's a lens through which we can understand our world.
Yeah.
Our culture is ultimately ourselves.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's about recognizing that everything is interconnected, right?
Right.
From the natural environment to, like, human societies, global events even.
Yes. And it's not just about, like, memorizing facts. It's about understanding the why behind those facts, how they shape our lives, and how we, in turn, shape the geography around us.
Right. It's a two-way street, isn't it?
Ex-
We are influenced by our environment, but we also have the power to, like, impact it.
Yeah. And that brings us to another key takeaway that Sophia and Michael emphasize, which is the importance of incorporating personal experiences and cultural insights into our understanding of geography.
Right.
They encourage listeners to move beyond rote memorization and make connections to their own lives, to the places they've been, the stories they've heard.
Yeah. It's about making geography personal.
Yes.
Relatable, which is something they demonstrate so well in their role play, right?
Absolutely.
And they also remind us that geography isn't just this academic subject.
Right.
It's a key to sustainable living. Like, by understanding our planet and the challenges we face, like climate change, we can make informed decisions that benefit ourselves and future generations.
It's true. So what does all of this mean for you, our listener?
Yeah. Well, I hope this deep dive has sparked, like, a renewed sense of curiosity about the world around you.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll start noticing those subtle ways that geography influences your daily life. From the food you eat, to the clothes you wear, to the way you commute to work.
It's everywhere.
Right. Or maybe you'll be inspired to, like, travel to a place with unique landscapes that have always intrigued you.
Yeah.
Like the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah.
Or the glaciers of Patagonia.
Amazing.
Or maybe you'll just start paying closer attention to the news.
Yeah.
Seeking to understand, the geographical context behind those current events. It's all about making those connections and realizing that geography is woven into the fabric of our lives, whether we're consciously aware of it or not.
Exactly. Because when we understand geography, we understand ourselves and our place in the world a little bit better.
So until our next deep dive, deep divers, keep those explorer hats on.
Yeah.
And stay curious.